So welcome back to the Elevate with Us podcast. My name is Tanya Cosmini. I am the broker owner here at Realty One Group Elevate, and I have an incredibly special guest today. She is very well known here in the North Florida area. She's partnered with an amazing title company, and I think the best description of Brit O'Donoghue is she is an influencer in our real estate market. So thank you so much, Brit, for being here. So can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe about your journey, how you got here to be with Landmark Title?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I don't know if I would take the word influencer. I've been called that a lot.
You're, 100%. When I was taking notes on what to say about you, it's like the first thing I wrote down.
Okay.
Influencer.
Well,
Own it.
All right, I'm owning it. Hopefully I influence people in all the positive ways. And if you find me cringy, I'm sorry. Yeah, so started in 2020. I got a call one night from a man named 𝗕𝗶𝗴. I was sitting in my kitchen. It was 8:30 on a Monday, not to be too specific. And at that point in my life, I was definitely pivoting in my career. Didn't really know what I was going to do. Started doing social media marketing in 2007. That's my passion. Before working with Landmark, I worked for a hedge fund. Basically that did front-end financing for builders and developers.
Okay.
And my market was Atlanta, so I knew nothing about the real estate market in Jacksonville, even though I lived here. So I could tell you all the pockets of town. I've lived through a lot of them when Fleming Island was nothing, St. John's was nothing but cow pastures, and I live there now, so it's crazy. And so had a couple of job opportunities. This man, Mr. Hekin, said that he needed a marketing director to come in-house. He had been outsourcing, and I started looking at their marketing content. No offense to who was doing it. It was nothing stellar, and told him I can definitely help, but I need to know kind of the ins and outs of title because I worked on the other side of the table. I mostly did transactions with attorneys, and I was just waiting on them to do the docs. That's all I really knew about title.
Sure.
Then got to know what Landmark Title was, and it was a very successful company that had built a name for itself, number one in the market share. So the product itself and the name wasn't hard for me to sell. And then when I came into the company, got to meet everybody that had grown it. So you have David, Will, Nikki, Howard, some of the seasoned vets, Caroline,
Yes.
all these attorneys. I was like, okay, well, let me learn what a day in the life is of title and what makes it so special.
Wow, that must have been crazy. I mean, I've been in real estate for a long time, and I've never thought about that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're selling. I was listening to a podcast on the way here, and, marketing, a lot of it, especially now with where we're going with video content, it's all about storytelling.
Sure.
So when you get to the closing table, you're either super happy because you're buying a home or you're super happy because you're selling a home.
Sure. Happy.
Yeah. So the keys, the pictures, the gifts, the realtor's happy. Everybody's happy. It's a win-win. So we were going to gear the marketing towards that. And then I also got to study the animal that is a real estate agent.
Listen, we're crazy. We're all weird.
Crazy in a good way. I mean,
No. I know. I love it. Like, they're all different. And I think that I can't even imagine what you discovered in your research on who a realtor is, because there's such a gamut. Like, there's such a spectrum of realtors, because people assume as a realtor you've got to be like outgoing because you're in sales, but there's a ton of realtors out there that are very introverted, and they do great.
Yeah. There's all different types. I actually have really enjoyed getting to meet everybody over the last couple of years and been really thankful for the platform that I've had. I have got to meet all these different personalities. They are entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
I'm an entrepreneurial, I think that's right, spirit, myself. So, and I could talk to a wall. So I can go into a room and just kind of find out their life story. And now I take that and get to meet with them one-on-one. And it's really helped on the business development side for Landmark, because obviously you want your closing to go smooth. You want to work with professionals.
Yep.
You don't have to have. So make sure that I am politically correct. It's very great to have attorneys to handle that closing process. And we have over 17 that are experienced in all different facets of that. So then I get to meet one-on-one with attorneys or the real estate agents and make sure that, number one, the process is smooth, who they would jive with. So then I get to understand their personalities, what they're looking for. And then I also get to take it one step further and talk about their business, what their goals are, and how I can help from a marketing and branding standpoint. And that's kind of, we were talking before we started this on the educational aspect.
Yeah, I mean, I know firsthand you guys have I've been with Landmark for 5 years, I guess. We've been using them as one of our probably preferred title company, and the education piece that you've brought on has been remarkable. I've been at the office, the new office on Financial Way, for some amazing educational pieces. So kudos to you, because that's hard for realtors, right? Like they don't love learning.
Yeah.
Right. But you've offered very valuable learning in a platform that most agents don't have access to. So it's been, really great job.
Well, that goes, first of all, I've got an awesome team that I work with in the marketing department as well. So shout out to our now marketing director, Jess, and then Nicole, who also does business development. But that was really David's dream. So
I love that. I didn't know. That's amazing.
So when he knew the educational component, now I don't think he knew that it was going to blow up the way that it did, or that we were going to be able to do all the social media marketing, as well as life application and business coaching has been something also, because I think you need all those facets as a real estate agent. You need to be injecting into yourself all different types of educational value.
Absolutely.
So personal value as well. But when he got the office space, I remember walking the building. I went over there with Nikki and just kind of listening through what David's idea was. And when I saw it demoed, I was like, I could never be an interior designer. I just needed to be done. I was like, what? I don't see it. And the walls were red. I think it used to be a collection company.
I was just going to ask. So that I had no idea what was there before.
It was a standalone building that had a couple different offices in there, but
one of them was one company that had the whole building.
No, and the one where our conference rooms was the walls were a screeching red.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay.
And so I do know branding and design and colors, but when it comes to interior design, taking something and visualizing it, that's not my strong suit. So I remember walking the halls and kind of what David wanted. He wanted real estate agents and mortgage professionals, anybody really in our arena, to feel like they could come to the office and collaborate, talk with people, plug in. So we have a realtor lounge, and then he wanted this education training room.
Which is amazing. If you haven't been to an event at Landmark Title, I highly suggest you find their Facebook page or wherever the stuff's posted. Great.
Yeah, so we post all of our events on our social media sites, so Facebook and Instagram, but also Eventbrite. And that kind of, we tried it out, and then we were like, okay, so how do we take it to the next level? One of the events that I'm super proud of that we started was our Breakfast of Champions.
Yes.
And when we do Breakfast of Champions, that is, the team and I kind of think about very, very different out of the box agents to come up there. No two are the same. I mean, no two agents are the same, but especially with your high producers, they're all very, very different. Their stories very, very different.
Absolutely.
And the way they do business, some of them have small teams, some of them are independent. So I love that one. That is usually a packed house. And now we've had, keynote speakers that go all around the United States. They've Zoomed in. We have one coming up. She's a social media guru, and she is an ex-loan officer. So all of her stuff is geared towards that.
Amazing.
CE classes.
Yep.
Pretty much whatever we can see that can provide value to our real estate partners, we'll do it. And then we host a lot of events for all of our network of friends. So if they want to do something and it makes sense and it lines up with what Landmark's trying to do, we go ahead and help them plan those events as well.
It's nice because it's a big space and that can be hard to find.
Yeah.
To have.
Especially in Jacksonville. I don't know why.
I don't know either. I mean, it's a pretty big city, right? Allegedly the largest geographical city. We should have more venues like that are not like the Jag Stadium. You know, a place where people can host events, but it is very hard to find. So it's really nice that David saw a vision, he saw a need, and he made it happen. I just love it because the space is beautiful. Yeah, it really, really is. It's really nice. It's really nice. So you've been doing social media marketing for a really long time. Yeah. Like I've been doing it for a hot second. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. But how has it changed? Like when you started versus now, I mean, the evolution of it has had to have been incredible and the learning curve ridiculous. So how did it kind of start? And then how has it changed? And like, there's just so much.
Yeah. I mean, so Facebook, first of all, I started back in like 2007 and Twitter was like our weapon of choice at that time.
Really?
So Twitter is really big. The only thing with Twitter is it was super frustrating because you only had 140 characters to get out your message. And I worked for a slew of clients, but some were infomercials and stuff like that. You had to have trending topics. And it was a fast pace. And Twitter, it was like rapid fire. You needed to always have content on there.
So like how often it's tweeting or whatever? Yeah. I'm so bad. I've never really done Twitter.
It's called tweeting.
Tweeting. Okay.
Yes. It's X now, so I don't even know what it's Xing, which is
called Xing. It changed the name.
I don't think they.
Let's just call it that. It sounds better.
Yeah.
So how often did you have to tweet?
So one of my clients was a pretty well-known, and this is people are gonna have questions.
We're fine. You're safe.
Was a pretty well-known televangelist. So we had to have 90 days of content released to her to approve. And then we would upload it in this platform, which we use now for Landmark, called
90 days?
90 days. She had to go through all of it and approve it because basically you are the voice for them.
Wow.
And they want to make sure that their message is on cue with their brand and what they're trying to get out there. And so that's always the fun thing for a marketing person. I talk to a lot of agents that are scared of marketing themselves. And I'm like, nobody knows your business and what you do and yourself better than you. So yeah, you can pay somebody $8 in the Philippines to create content for you, but it's going to fall flat. It's much better for you just to quiver a little bit and shake on your phone as you do your first reel and kind of get over it. So that's kind of where it started. Facebook was only for college kids. And I had already passed that stage in life. So I wasn't cool enough to be on Facebook.
Me either. I understand.
Yeah. And then I just watched it evolve. And now it's like the two platforms that I like the most for me and for our company is Facebook and Instagram. I think it's the most user-friendly. I think the demographics are going to be the most aligned with who we're going after as prospects, clients, and to get our message out. But YouTube is really awesome. YouTube Shorts are a great way. If you are that person that's comfortable in video and wants to be a little bit more educational with your content, YouTube might be it for you. Josh Rogers has had a lot of success with YouTube.
Oh, amazing. He's done really good with it.
And then when it comes to TikTok, it's not for me.
Come on.
People literally get so angry at me for this. I think a lot of it is personally because I have teenagers and I just don't like the effects of TikTok.
I understand that.
So I know enough about it to be dangerous, but it's not something that I super care about as an online platform, but to each your own. I think the algorithm with TikTok is a lot different than Instagram and Facebook. So this is not for me.
Yeah, I can't comment on it. I don't really know anything about it. We just launched our TikTok. It's not, but ours is really just for educational videos, like the short platform, short videos. But I don't have funny ones or I don't do dances or anything. You don't? No, I don't do them. I guess I could. I don't, because I guess it's the same as a reel. It's very, very comparable.
Yeah, it is. I think TikTok's a little bit harder sometimes for people to use, but every generation is a little bit different. So obviously during COVID, the younger generation kind of gravitated to it. But I also have agents that I know, love, and respect, like 𝗪𝗙 Underwood.
I was going to say the same thing. She's done,
and she crushes it.
Crushes it on there. Like, it really spoke to her soul. Like, it comes through in her content that works for her. And I think that's what's so amazing about social media is that there's many platforms and some of them will work for you and they don't. And I'm sure you give this advice agents all the time. It's okay to just start with one.
Yeah.
Feel good about it.
Good with that one. So into that one and become really good. And you could use that content across the board.
Yeah. And don't have analysis paralysis. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's fine.
Just
like,
post it.
It doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah. You look and sound like this anyways to people. So no need for a filter. You don't need somebody else's voiceover. This is who you are. This is how they connect to you anyways. So just be yourself.
Yeah, because people like you for who you are. So just let it shine.
Right.
Because we were talking about this before, that video is so important in our field.
Yeah.
Right. Especially when there's, a lot of realtors in the area and a lot of realtors across the country. And if you want to reach people, it's a lot, it take a long time making that many phone calls, but you can record a video and get in front of a lot of different people. But we both know realtors are terrified.
Yeah.
Terrified of video.
Yeah.
Terrified. And I tell them to get over it. Sounds like you say the same thing, but it doesn't really happen. I mean, it's hard.
I think they overthink it. I taught 2 classes yesterday, 2 very different demographics, and one was in Riverside and one was in Palm Coast. So different
Lots
market.
of driving for you.
Yeah, there was a lot of driving yesterday. I definitely deserved those 2 glasses of wine I had. So, talking to both of them, market's different. They're, who they are as realtors and kind of how they present themselves is different. And if you are scared of video, there's so many vendor partners that you're connected to that are awesome. Get with them and start out with a buddy.
Sure.
Because it's much easier to do dialogue back and forth like this than to just get in front of a video by yourself. So if you want to do it and you kind of want to tiptoe into it, I would start there. I think people are a little bit more comfortable if they're doing it with somebody else.
Sure, why not?
And then as everybody's first video is cringy. I started doing videos on Instagram before like this real estate world, just to let other I was a military wife. I was home with 5 kids and bored out of my mind sometimes. I don't know how I could be bored with all those kids.
I don't know how you're bored of 5 kids either. It sounds really busy, just saying.
But we would do recipes at the house and I would cook with the kids. And that's kind of just how I started getting in front of the camera. And so I think when it comes to agents, sometimes just people in general, you overthink it a little bit.
Absolutely.
And so if there's something that you're really passionate about and then you have the camera rolling, I think it will come off a lot more genuine than if you try to overstress thinking about doing what somebody else is doing, because comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh my gosh, I say that all the time. It's one of my favorites. And the other thing I tell agents is it's not going to be perfect.
No.
And I do a lot of video. They're not perfect. Often I stumble over my words, but I just keep rolling with it because it's who I am. And that's okay. Do you want?
No. I think people will relate to you more. I mean, yes and no.
I mean, sometimes, like if I'm filming, if it's a video for like a listing, it should be like,
it should be perfect.
It should be real nice.
They probably want it to be perfect.
Shouldn't have like,
so
fake stuff on my face or be stumbling. But, and when you're educating or whatever, I've made a different suggestion to realtors who are scared of video because we have a unique opportunity here. It's called new construction that you can look really busy as a realtor all the time. So I tell them to do a tour of it and then have it edited with a voiceover.
Yeah.
Because then they don't have to worry about what they look like. They can read a script.
Right.
And no one will know. And I'm like, you'll get so annoyed at that process that you'll want to do it in one step and you'll start recording yourself.
Right.
I don't know if their fear of video is the video part of their face, hearing their voice, but I hope that can empower someone to feel comfortable in video because you don't have to be in the video. It's preferred. People want to see your face.
Right.
But if you just get some video content out there, it's better than nothing.
Right. Consistency is key. And one of the things that I've been, in my car, this is a fun fact. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I think as anybody in real estate, especially real estate agents, you guys are in the car. That is a perfect opportunity for you to sow into yourself. And if you are struggling in a certain area, you can find a podcast or a YouTube video for it.
Absolutely.
So I was listening to, because the algorithms and how everything is set up changes so much social media is so fast paced, especially now with all of AI being brought in to social media. But with algorithms, the two most popular things on Instagram that are not going to change are Reels and carousels. So for anybody that doesn't know what a carousel is, that's where you can have multiple photos together. So that'd be like 10, because that algorithm is set up to have somebody for the longevity piece. So they want them to stay on. It picks up, people like this, and they'll do that through a video. Another thing that's going to be of the past is going to be hashtags, and everything's going to...
I've heard that they're not really that popular anymore.
So your SEO content is going to be your closed captions. So a lot of times people don't like themselves on video, but 9 times out of 10, people aren't even listening to it. They'll be in a meeting scrolling through social media,
and they're just reading,
and they're just reading the captions.
They're reading the caption.
So again, like, we overthink it sometimes, where we should really just be confident in ourselves, and sometimes we got to fake it till we make it.
Every day, baby, every day.
And then just kind of put yourself out there and get with professionals. I always extend an invite. If you want to come powwow, I got a couch in my office. We will sit down and talk to you. It's not a perfect science. We work in this world. I'm on so many platforms for every facet of our company every day. I get to see what all of you guys are doing, which I love. And it's a great way to stay in touch. But we learn little tips and tricks every single day through a webinar, a podcast, what other people are doing in the industry. We meet with a lot of the marketing directors at big brokerages to see what they're doing. Because we need, just as I hope and love that realtors collaborate together, us creatives need that too. Because otherwise we can just kind of get bored with our own devices. We need to get into a think tank. So I'm always open for that kind of discussion. I love those because creativity gets sparked, and then we all walk away with something.
Yeah, because whatever you hear and I hear is different. And then we talk about it, and then you're like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. And the same thing happens for me. It's the most amazing thing about learning and bringing like-minded people together and people that are trying to get to the same place, because the amount of information you can gather with multiple people is remarkable. It's super amazing. So what would you say, because you work with a lot of us realtors, what is the most frustrating part about us realtors? Putting you on the spot big time.
I'm probably about to turn real red.
No, you can't be honest, because you help a lot of us out there, and you provide us a lot of great content. So, like, what can we do for you that would be better if we would just stop?
Honestly, like, I try to be a pretty positive person. So I can't really, I guess it's just, kind of believing in the process and believing in yourself. Also, there's a very small crowd of it, and I turn the other cheek, but just try to lift up others in your community. And there's a big group of you guys that do, but there's always some that don't. And it's like, there's enough. Number one, there's enough business for all of us out there. This is a very big city, and people are continuing to move here. Lift each other up and collaborate together, because we might both do the same thing on social media, but it's going to look and feel very, very different. No different than anything else that you do in your business. We may say the same thing, but we're going to package it differently because we're different people.
Right.
And so I am not a fan of cattiness. Especially when it comes to females. One of the things that happened when I first got into this industry, because I am a single mom, is the single mom group of just real estate professionals. So whether it's a lender, whether it's another title person, whether it's an inspection company, whether it's a real estate agent, they have loved on me like no other. And some of them are my best friends. So I just think it's really hard already. Life is really hard already.
Absolutely.
And so if you could just be nicer to each other, but in face and behind the scenes, I think that would be my only tidbit that I would like to see a little bit more of.
No, you're not wrong. It's like a dog eat dog world out there in real estate. And like you said, they need to have an abundance mindset. And remember, there is enough business for everybody. I tell the realtors that all the time. Like, it's okay if you don't win a listing or whatever happens, because another one will come. It's okay. Abundance mindset. There's a lot of real estate being sold. And I totally agree with you. The business is hard. Life is hard. There is no reason to be mean or catty or not excited for somebody else who had a great opportunity, that got a great listing or got a great buyer or whatever it is that happened to them, to not be so happy for their opportunity, because you should be proud that they're doing something amazing for their business.
Yeah. Also, find your niche. I think too many times, and be comfortable in it. I think there's too many times that, just as humans in general, so this isn't even really just slated towards real estate agents, but as, entrepreneurs, figure out what you really like. When I sit down with the agent, the first thing I ask them is, why do you do what you do? And if they can't tell me that, we need to pull this back a little bit. And once you figure that out, and then who are you trying to get your message to? And then what service do you provide? You say, well, I'm a real estate agent. I sell houses. I know, but let's go a little bit more, because all of that stuff is going to pour out in your marketing.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think they miss that because they start here. They're like, I sell houses.
Right.
Like, well, we get that. And you sell them to people. We understand that too. But they're unable to figure out who they want to work with or what they want to work with.
And who's your sphere? And how are you loving on your sphere? And don't be so consumed with bringing on. Now, don't get me wrong. We're all in business. We want to make money. We got people to feed, including ourselves. But I think sometimes they lose sight of their sphere and loving on your sphere. But you never know. Even if you just sold them a house recently, you never know what experience that they had with you that they're going to share with someone else. And that helps your sphere go a little bit further.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think that people sometimes fall flat on that and don't love on past clients and are so consumed with the now and the future and more, and they miss the boat on that.
Yeah, they make the transaction transactional instead of making it a relationship, right? Because in all fairness, I say it all the time, we are in the relationship business.
Yeah, you are.
Those relationships may or may not lead to a sale. It might just be a great relationship, and that's amazing as well. But if it does lead to a sale, you have to love on that relationship. They're like little seeds. Yeah. They're not going to grow on their own. They're not going to just say, oh, you're a realtor, so that therefore I'm going to think of you when I think of buying or selling. I wish it worked like that, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
So I also would add to that, I go to a marketing conference twice or every year. In this year, it's going to be in Vegas, so I can't wait to see who they're going to bring over. But they had it last year in San Diego and the year before that. And there are all types of, TED Talk individuals, folks that work with big box companies like Ritz-Carlton on customer service. And 2 years in a row, the same word has come up, and that's experience.
Okay.
And so, that's what connects with people, is the experience that they had with you.
Sure.
And I think that sometimes maybe on social media it gets a little flat, and I think agents should share what the experience is going to look like when they work with you, because that's what's going to connect with somebody else and pull on their feelings. I said this on my story yesterday, and I'm going to butcher it, but facts, if you just state facts, it only works two parts of the brain. So when somebody comprehends it only works two sides of the brain, or two parts. If you ask me the parts of the brain, I'm not going to know. But when it comes to storytelling and explaining what the experience is going to be, not only are you setting expectations, but it touches 7 points of the brain.
Oh, wow.
So
big,
you
more
are
connection.
able to connect with somebody a lot more. And that happens through not just showcasing, I sell houses and I'm really good, and this is how many houses I sold. All of that's great. I mean, pat yourself on the back for hard work. But at the same time, your buyers and sellers don't really care about that. What they care about is what they're going to experience
for them, what it's
with
gonna
you.
Be. Yeah.
And what you're going to do for them.
Yes.
So that would be something I would say to make sure is really present in your social media. marketing is stating that this is who I am, and when you work with me, this is what you are going to experience, because that experience is what's going to help them refer more business to you.
Absolutely. They say, and I'm going to butcher this as well, something about...
Let's just butcher it all.
Something about like it matters more how you make them feel.
Yeah.
Right? And that's probably what it is when you're managing their expectation, letting them know what's going to happen. It gives them what I call the feels.
Right.
And people have the feels, they want to work with you. Most people buy homes with emotion, not logic. Like 80 to 90% of it. So that makes perfect sense. And for the realtors out there, she's kind of touching on doing a buyer consult or a seller consult, because that manages the expectations. If buyers and sellers know what's going to happen, then it takes off the stress of the process, right?
Yeah.
Buying and selling property, really stressful. Like one of the most stressful things you could do. So if you're able to say, hey, in the process, we're going to do this. These are my responsibilities. And here's a review from a customer that had a similar situation as yours, and this is how it went. They're going to trust you.
Yeah.
And that's really important, that they trust you, especially if it's not like your best friend.
So coming from infomercial world,
that must be crazy.
It was
infomercial world.
Yeah. So one of our biggest, what was gold to us was video testimonials. So I've said this a lot, so it's no secret. If you come to any of my classes, I talk about this. If you can get one of your clients to do a video testimonial for you, that is gold, honestly, because you have somebody on camera talking about how awesome you are, and it's not you. And people will resonate with that a lot more than they would about you talking about how awesome you are. And so if you can get that, you can do it professionally, or you can get it just, hey, this is, Tim and Joe, and we just sold them a house, and this was the experience that we went through, and they were so happy. Pin that to the top of your Instagram, and that should be a part of your grid, because I always look at a grid as kind of your resume. When I look at somebody's Instagram, because I'm one of those people. I'm gonna look at your LinkedIn. I'm gonna look at your Facebook. I'm gonna look. I almost called it fake book. Look at your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram. And I am a pretty good judge of character. I will go through all your social media and try to get, kind of gauge who you are, what's important to you. People want to know who you are, and that's what they do.
Absolutely, because they want to be able to connect with you.
Right. Yeah. And so it's no different than anything else in life when you say, your vibe finds your tribe. It's the same way when you do business. And a lot of people will be in the car driving around. Honey, I want to move to Aberdeen. I want to move here. We need a realtor. They're going to be looking online. Make sure your contact information.
Oh, please put not only your email address, your phone number.
Yeah, because if they can't get in touch with you, and it's
oh my
too
gosh,
much,
so frustrating.
Since COVID and thanks to TikTok and short form reels, the attention span of somebody is about 3 seconds. So if they can't get in contact with you and they can't find, number one, your contact information, number two, what you look like, number three, that you're a realtor and it's not in one of those particular orders, they're going to move on and find what they're looking for.
Don't have it be a form fill to get your information.
Right.
It says,
and I'll call you back, because they'll be like, moving on.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to give you their information. Even though they're going to call you and you're going to have their information. Oh yeah, that drives me nuts right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
And make sure your headshot is up to date.
Oh, you mean it shouldn't be from like 12 years?
You were cute back then, but you're cute now. And no cat filters.
Stay tuned for part 2 of this Elevate With Us podcast.